Welcome to this special edition of the Scientific Audiophile, where the Scientific Audiophile cooks. Today, we are going to be making chocolate hazelnut biscotti. Many of you don't know how to cook, because an audiophile cooks better than most people. But before I go any further, let me make something very clear to all audiophiles. Never think you're better than other people, but you should always act as if you are. That said, audiophiles make such great cooks because they can hear so well. It's been said many times that you eat with your eyes, but you cook with your ears. Before anyone can do any serious cooking, you must set the mood. If you, as the cook, are not in the mood, you will not cook well. And since we're making biscotti, which comes from the Tuscany region of Italy, we need to put on some fantastic music from that region. So I am now playing Giacomo Puccini while I cook the chocolate hazelnut biscotti. And of course you need to set the mood with more than just music. Nothing goes better with biscotti than a Vinsanto. I've chosen Felsina, and I recommend it highly with your biscotti. Without the proper drink, you will never cook properly. So what are the ingredients we'll need for making biscotti? It's actually quite a simple dish. You'll need 4 tablespoons of melted butter, 2 cups of flour, 1 cup of sugar. You'll need a half teaspoon of vanilla. You'll need 1 3/4 teaspoons of almond extract, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 and, important, 1/4 cups separated of hazelnuts. You will need 3 eggs. And lastly, you'll need 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Not very much, but you need it. And one last item, a cooking sheet covered with parchment paper. And to make the biscotti, we will heavily be utilizing a food processor. The first thing you want to do is roughly chop up your hazelnuts. Now this is where being an audiophile is so important. Most people will say 6 to 8 pulses. However, you want to really hear around 8,000 hertz. That's when the food processor has got the hazelnuts to the perfect cutting amount. Now you notice that? Our pitch is getting just a little bit higher. And there, that's it. Perfect amount, beautiful. And just put these into a bowl. Oh, Puccini. Now we take the 1/4 cup. These should be chopped to a fine 15,000 hertz. Now that, for you who don't know that, that'll be about 45 seconds on medium high. Now I know you might have caught that right there. I stopped at about 14,500 hertz, but the reason is we do need to add our flour and our salt. And process again. Now this is when we want to wait for that 15,000 hertz. There we have it. Lastly, we want to add the 2 teaspoons of baking powder and just combine. Put this in another bowl. We now take two of our 3 eggs and we're going to process them in the food processor until they hit about a swishing sound near the 14,000 kilohertz mark. For most people out there, that would be about 3 minutes. We're trying to get the volume in these to fluff up, and that's the hertz you want to really listen to, because that's when they've hit that doubling in volume that we're looking for. Notice that time we did not stop it early. We do want that full fluff, and that is the hertz you want to hit. So now we slowly add our sugar. And then we're going to add 1 teaspoon of the vanilla. This is a bourbon extract vanilla. Strongly recommend it. And now 2 teaspoons of the almond extract. And finally, add your melted butter. Just pulse a little bit longer. I'm just trying to mix them all up. This is the perfect time for me to turn on my oven to 330. The reason I don't do it earlier is because this particular oven makes a loud noise as it's trying to extract the hot air as soon as it gets turned on, and it does sometimes confuse me with the proper hertz I'm listening for in my food. So I use it now, and it usually takes about 5 minutes to warm up. Now we simply take our egg mixture, we put it into a bowl, and we're going to add half of our flour. Oh, you can smell the vanilla and almond extract. It's fantastic. After we've gotten every little bit, we add half the flour mixture. Now we add the rest of the flour and the hazelnuts to complete the overture. And again, just fold it in. It's going to take a couple minutes, but you don't want to mix it. And you will end up with this little sticky mixture when you're all done. You might need a little bit of flour for making it into the 8-inch by 3-inch rectangles. Now, before we do anything further, we're going to be splitting these into 2 8-inch by 3-inch rectangles on our cookie sheet. So you're going to want to take out a scale and zero it out, so that when you divide, you'll have the exact proper amounts. So we're right at 803 grams, so about 401 grams for each of our rectangles. Just put a little flour on your hands to keep them from sticking to the dough. One of the best products you can have around the house is this little dough cutter from Good Grips. We got ours, and it's hard to see, but there are actually inches marked on this. We're doing an 8 by 3, so this makes it very easy to kind of push it down and make sure we get that 8-inch by 3-inch rectangle that we're looking for. So let's just take a quick look at them before we put them in the oven. So now that we've completed our 8 by 3s, what's that extra egg for? We said 3 in the beginning, but we only added 2 to the food processor. You want to save the yolk for later, but you just need the egg white from the last one. Now just add a pinch of salt. And then just mix until they get a little bit fluffy. Just about like that. Okay, then we're just going to lightly cover the 2 with a little bit of egg wash, and they'll be ready for the oven. Oh, Puccini, you really make baking a pleasure. And they go in the oven for 30 minutes at 330 degrees. So our 30 minutes are over. Let's take them right out of the oven. Just slightly browned and beautiful. We're going to let them sit for another 30 minutes. We are then going to cut them and then put them back in the oven to do the double baking that biscotti requires. Okay, and these just go in for another 30 minutes. And then we take them out, wait another 30 minutes, and then we put the chocolate covering on them. And here they are, all done. Now you can eat them right now, but we promised you chocolate biscotti. So we're gonna let them cool down for another 40 minutes, and then we'll show you how to make fantastic chocolate biscottis. Okay, your biscotti is now done. You can eat it as is, but we promised you chocolate hazelnut biscotti, not just hazelnut biscotti. So, get about 1/3 cup of chocolate chips. I make my own chocolate chips from scratch, but if you do want to buy store-bought, I recommend Godiva. And then put them in the microwave for about 1 minute and 10 seconds. After about 1 minute and 10 seconds, your chips will look like this, but just take the back of a spoon and start working them over, and you'll get a nice chocolate mixture will form. And they end up looking just about like this. Now we simply dip our biscotti into the chocolate, clean it off a little bit, put it back into our parchment paper, and do this for all the items. So there we have it, chocolate hazelnut biscotti. So thanks again for watching the Scientific Audiophile. And remember, audiophiles are better cooks because we can hear the food.